Hey there. Tax refund season is here, and I bet you already have ideas what to do with all that money, don't you? I'm sure that at one point in time, you wish that you could splurge to travel to a place you never visited. That's just some foreign country. Do Paris, Italy, or Tokyo come to mind? Have the thought of not being able to understand each other due to language barriers ever crossed your mind? How about here at home, in Tri-Cities in Washington? Have you ever encountered this with someone who doesn't speak English? How did that go? Well, what if I told you that there was a simple way Washington State and maybe even the whole world can tackle these problems, as to understand each other a little better? From a toddler to a grown adult, everyone can benefit from learning sign, an unappreciated language, and it starts with one simple change in our state school's curriculum. Implementing sign language as a second language course into school curriculum or after-school programs would help tackle language barriers we come across in everyday life. So out of all languages, why sign language?
Oh man, need help with this car. Hey, you mind helping me with something?
¿Qué es lo que está diciendo ese? No le entiendo a ese vato. ¿Sabe español?
You don't know English?
No sé English. ¿Sabe español?
God dang it. I need help with this car. I need to jumpstart it, or else I'm not going anywhere.
I just saw on the previous fun video that those two neighbors would have known sign language, and they would have been able to understand each other better and help each other out, right? You know, we have grandparents sometimes that are native speakers that their grandkids don't understand them because they don't know the language. And imagine you can also go to a different place and travel with one less thing you have to worry about. You can land anywhere globally, and imagine if they actually had the same universal language, sign language over there to understand each other. People will be able to communicate and understand each other a lot better. There are many benefits of sign language, and they're immense, but I will list just a few. For example, you get better friendships and relationships with each other. For example, learning sign language for the babies, you know, parents, siblings can go ahead and understand what the baby's cries are all about, right? That was studied by Institute of Psychology. Also, learning at a very young age, you know, can lead to very higher cognitive learning. Now, there was actually a study by Institute of Psychology in 1994 that actually proved that there was an increment retainment of knowledge. Seniors, you know, they're able to communicate with anybody because of hard of hearing, right? Also, it creates an openness to diversity, right? We're a country of different culture. We're a culture mixing bowl, right? We get people from Asia, from Mexico, from England, you know, and they're Africa. You know, we have everybody and everything. So we are able to communicate that way. We're able to do that with each other. There is no such thing as language barriers, you know. So also being bilingual opens up new doors. You know, there's a paper why you should learn a second language and gain new skills. It's because you're able to go ahead and open up, you know, pathways in your brain waves, right? Also, anybody that knows a second language, you're able to go ahead and see, you know, that there's a lot more opportunities. Job skills are hurting right now, where you're able to go ahead. They're looking for people that are bilingual. And if you can communicate your message across, and you're able to communicate with a lot more people, a lot more audience, you'll have an overall well-being for sure. So if there are so many benefits, why not go for it? Well, critics argue that they may fear losing their identity and who they are by learning a different language. But that's not what we're asking them. We're asking them to learn a second language, and it's sign, right? They're able to vocalize themselves orally. We're not asking them to learn a second oral language. It's a sign language, okay? So that they're able to communicate like they always should. The sign language is a secondary, which means it could be a backup, okay? Also, critics argue, well, you know what? It's hard to pick up a language. True, I get it. There's people that are older and like myself that, you know, they don't pick up skills. But you know what? I'm actually right now learning computer language, Python, right now in school, and it's hard and challenging. But you know what? I have a purpose. I have a challenge myself, and it gives you a sense of accomplishment. You'll love it. You'll love it. Encourage yourself to do it.
So with that, we close with the fact that studies point out that learning a new skill such as another language has its benefits. Learning sign language as a secondary language is advantageous because you are able to communicate with a larger audience. It has many benefits, and you still identify with your native tongue. Implementing sign language into our school curriculum would help tackle language barriers we come across in everyday life. Years back, me and my wife went to a casino in Treasure Island in Las Vegas, and people were loud, slot machines were sounding, their bells and whistles, and dealers were getting their players excited with their yells and screaming and, you know, yo, and, you know, player. It was really loud, and at times people had to raise their voice to get heard. But yet not too far away, a couple of double doors from a convention room, opened up, and people were starting to spill out into the gangway floor. And with a closer look, I noticed something interesting about this crowd. The horde of people were all talking with one another as they were going through the doors with no vocals, just their hands and facial expressions. They were just signing each other and talking to each other that way. An event for the deaf and hard of hearing must have just ended because that's what they were doing. I had my wife take notice of this and said, look at that. For us, the casino is very loud and noisy, but to them, the signing that they were doing with all their hands, that's the real noise to them. It was very captivating. I mean, it was loud over here for us, we couldn't talk, and they were just, if you're one of them, you know, hard of hearing, you're looking at that and they were really loud over there in that direction if you really knew the sign and how you were hard of hearing. Well, now I ask you, wouldn't you like to create some positive change in the world? How about the lives of yourself and your family? Let's open new doors and hold more friendships out in the world. Let's learn sign.